Most people don't consider the way we talk to our friends to be important. It's not like you're in a job interview or giving a speech where every word matters, but sometimes the way we speak in private can tell us more about someone than how we speak in a professional setting. The words we use tell our history, records the places we've been, likes, dislikes, loves, losses. That's why, for our final project, me and my partner Zoe decided to look at the slang that students here at KU use in everyday life, as well as some of the slang that former KU students used over the years. To talk about the present, we must first talk about the past. The history of KU's slang being recorded dates to the 1920s, one of the first ever collections of college slang. Published in Duke University Press's American Speech, a nationally acclaimed linguistics journal, Carl Pingree and Vance Randolph recorded over 50 common slang words in circulation around KU. Unfortunately, their method of collection wasn't recorded in their article, so it served more as a point of comparison for another part of the video. Since there's not much to say on the study itself, we decided to take a look into their authors. Carl Pingree was the second of a three-generation family of KU grads. There's not much information about his research past this one article, but his son did go on to be a computer scientist with several patents that are filed in the KU library. Researching Randolph was a lot easier than researching Pingree. Vance Randolph went on to become one of the most prodigious voices in American folk history, specifically the Ozarks. His list of publications is extensive, with a few I personally thought sounded interesting being We Always Lie to Strangers, Hot Springs in Hell and Other Folk Jests and Anecdotes from the Ozarks, and The Talking Turtle, all either collections or records of Ozark folk tales.
In the 60s, two scholars decided to revisit KU with a new study, Kansas University Slang, A New Generation. Again, published in American Speech, Alan Dundas and Manuel R. Scohorn studied slang found at KU in order to discover how many of the slang expressions known by the undergraduates at Kansas University in 1926 were understood or utilized in 1962. To collect data, they selected 123 undergrads and had them fill out forms anonymously to make sure they would answer truthfully. These forms had definitions of slang words taken directly from the older studies as often as possible, which the student would then provide a word for. Though it wasn't made clear when, the students were also asked to define slang words in the 1926 study. This method of data collection helped inspire our process. About the authors, Alan Dundas has been called one of the most re-owned folklorists of our time. After graduating from Yale and pursuing a PhD in folklore at Indiana University Bloomington, he taught at KU for a year, before accepting a job offer at UC Berkeley, where he would teach for the rest of his career. Manuel R. Scohorn graduated from UPenn in 1963 with a PhD in English. Information on his career is extremely difficult to find. He is the only author as of this date still alive. How we conducted our experiment. In keeping with Dundas and Scohorn's methods, we decided to take a two-sided approach. We distributed flyers and a link to a survey online. This survey contained 29 definitions, to which the person filling out would give a word in response. You may notice that the number of definitions given is much lower than the two previous studies, which both had over 50. This is for several reasons. Firstly, we wanted to maximize the number of people who filled out the form. With previous versions, tested on my friends, thank you Adiah, Gregory, and Danny, 50 was determined to be way too many. Secondly, we removed questions that we deemed as too offensive, specifically relating to stereotyping of race and sexuality. While there is academic merit in collecting such data, this is not the place. The last way we were able to cut down was to consolidate definitions. While the previous studies often had questions relating specifically to the gender of the person, i.e. an unattractive female date and unattractive male date, we collapsed both as member of the preferred sex. There also was the matter of updating some definitions. In keeping with Dundas and Scohorn's paper, the first version of the questionnaire stuck with the definitions given in their paper. While most of the questions were answered without issue, a few needed to be revised for clarity.
The most interesting part of the data collected was specifically where slang has changed since the '63 study. For the most part, social slang, as in slang used to refer to the friends or social situations, completely changed. For example, when given the prompt, "What would you call a student who doesn't engage in social activity?" responses tended less towards insulting them personally, as in the Fink, Squirrel, or Queer of the 63 study, and more towards describing behavior, having a near tie between the neutral loner and derogatory loser, with a close second in the neutral introvert. This is echoed in positive prompts, such as, "What do you call an attractive member of the preferred sex?" Instead of the original doll, baby, or winner, there was yet again a tie between hot and baddie, with fine being a close third. Even considering the demographic changes in KU students, as the school has become diverse over time, this change in language can be attributed to two things. Firstly, every generation tends to invent their own slang. The more interesting one, to me anyways, is the proliferation of AAVE, or African American Vernacular English, due to the internet. While using hot or fine to refer to beauty can be traced back to Chaucer, due to their relationship with passion and purity respectively, both being considered attractive traits in European and therefore English history, the rise of baddie can be directly traced to the proliferation of AAVE through American pop culture and the internet, which young people are typically more involved in.
The words that hadn't changed were mostly related to academics. When asked, "What is it called when you fail an examination?" most students in both the 63 and 24 responded with flunk or bomb. This was especially surprising to us considering the proliferation of phrases like "take the L" or "get cooked" in modern vernacular. This phenomenon also occurred in the positives like, "What is it called when you pass an examination with high marks?" to which the response in both studies was overwhelmingly "ace" or "ace it." There was also one non-academic slang that remained the same. When asked, "What do you call it when someone is drunk?" the most common expression for both was "wasted." Due to the rate of recreational drug use on college campuses, we decided to add a prompt to the study. What do you call it when someone is high? Out of the three most common responses, high, stoned, and faded, two stand out. High and stoned were both previous answers to the drunk question. The shift of high and stoned from meaning drunk, inebriated due to alcohol, to high, inebriated due to drug use, can be traced to increased awareness of recreational drug use brought about by the hippie movement of the 60s. While the whole decade is usually credited with this social movement, it is widely believed that it started in 1964, a year after the study was published and several after it was conducted. Thank you for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed learning about how KU slang has evolved over time.